I'm Sam,
And this is Gabe.
and this is Coaster Wars.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coastal Wars podcast, where we are back for season 3.
We're finally back.
I'm going to be honest with you. When we started this, I did not think this was going to last this long.
I am sort of right there with you. I thought we'd get tired of it, honestly, after like a week of two. Like, this is too much goddamn work. We're not doing this.
But the temperatures are dropping. The leaves are changing. It is now the bittersweet end of the roller coaster season, at least for us northern counterparts. Obviously, those people in the southern states are enjoying their coaster seasons all year round.
Lucky bastards.
Unfortunately, as the seasons change, our schedules free up quite a bit, and we're back. We're going to try and be more consistent this year. We're actually going to try and stick to a schedule. We'll see how that works out. That being said, we're back. We're here. We're ready. We're going to talk about this exciting, probably the busiest roller coaster summer that me and you have ever had.
We actually went to sort of a ridiculous amount of roller coaster parks, and 2 of them were kind of on accident. Another 2 of them we couldn't just wait for. And then, of course, we took the biggest roller coaster trip of our lives. That was also our first international trip, where we went to 12 parks in 14 days. And if you want to get technical with it, we actually went to 13 parks, but one of them we went back to. So
13 parks.
Because we had to go back to America.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. We had to go back to Six Flags America.
Yeah, 12 individual parks, but if you want to get technical, we went to 13 because we had to go back to 1 to get a ride on a roller coaster that was being very temperamental. But today what we're doing for this special episode is it's going to be our Halloween special, and we took a trip down in San Antonio. We did Six Flags Fiesta Texas and SeaWorld San Antonio. And let me tell you, SeaWorld was actually kind of a surprise.
Yeah, there's a couple coasters there that I really enjoyed at SeaWorld San Antonio. I think this trip as a whole was kind of surprised because we weren't even planning on going to SeaWorld, and then we were supposed to be going to Six Flags over Texas, and then that just never worked out.
Yeah.
And then we ended up at Fiesta Texas, which did work out. It's just like I said, this year in general has been a whirlwind. We both of us have doubled our credit counts in one summer, which I say is pretty good.
It's kind of spectacular.
We covered a lot of the East Coast. Still not everything that's out there, though. I mean, we can still go back and hit parks we didn't get to visit.
Exactly. It's kind of crazy.
That being said, I think next summer is going to be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Just how the course of things are going. But I have a feeling that there is going to be a West Coast trip in there. It's going to be hard for me not to do anything next summer.
Yeah.
And I really, 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 really want to get out to Magic Mountain. That has been on my list for a very long time. We've actually planned it twice and then canceled it.
Yeah.
So, third time I plan it, we are doing it. We are not canceling it.
Okay.
So that might be where we end up next year. But yeah, this year as a whole was just a whirlwind of roller coasters.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to remember them all, to be honest. We got to go through my list and see what I've all actually ridden now.
Oh my gosh. Same for me. I have to sit down and redo my top 15 because I still haven't done that. But
I did. My top 15 is completely redone. There's a lot of coasters that are in there that didn't start the year in there. The most notable one is probably Sky Rush. That's the one right off the top of my head that as soon as I got off of Sky Rush, I was like, yeah, this is a top 15 coaster, and it's not even a question. There's a couple other in there that are surprising that where they ended up. We'll talk about that one of them for sure we'll talk about in an episode later on, which we'll talk about. This episode's going to be more of just a special episode. I know we're getting a little long-winded here.
Yeah.
After this, we'll go into our episode 0 that we do at the beginning of every season now, and that'll be we'll talk about our schedule. We'll talk about saying goodbye to season 2 abruptly. We'll apologize for that, and then just basically general housekeeping that we like to do at the start of each season.
Yeah, kind of give you guys episode. A layout of how the season should progress. Well, again, we're going to try and be more consistent this year.
There's anything we're consistent at, it is inconsistency.
Yes, indeed.
I like how that just became our podcast motto.
Yeah, really did. I'm gonna make us t-shirts. You all wait.
Yeah, right. That'll be our first piece of merch.
Yes. But to get into today's episode, do we want to talk about Fiesta Texas or SeaWorld first?
Let's definitely dive into Fiesta Texas. That was the park that I said no matter what, we aren't missing. Yes. And I think Sam figured out why.
Yes, Fiesta Texas is an absolutely beautiful park, especially for a Six Flags park. And now to give you guys a little history, if you want like a full rundown of the history, go back and listen to our Son of Beast special episode part 1. I did a lot in the history, but just to give you guys a brief overview, this park actually began life in 1934 as part of the Redland Quarry. So once all the limestone was taken from the area, it was purchased by a couple different companies, and eventually it was turned into a theme park and then eventually handed over to Six Flags in 1996. And it is now Six Flags Fiesta Texas as we know it today. But the part I want to get at here is that it used to be a quarry. So this park has these gorgeous, beautiful rock quarry walls that a lot of the roller coasters interact with and use to make their ride experience more interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a very beautiful park. It's an amusement park you walk into with the Six Flags name that feels closer to a Cedar Fair park. And, and what I mean by that is it's the one Six Flags park that I have ever walked into and I went, wow, this is actually really nice. Everything seems really well taken care of. Everything seems to be in, good operating condition, and just it's a clean and organized park with, bathrooms everywhere, and it just, you can tell the person that has been running this amusement park has invested money into it. And I think that's one thing, me and you as guest goers appreciate the most is you don't have to have the nicest, best facilities with the greatest and state-of-the-art roller coasters, but we want to feel like whoever's running the park actually cares about the park, if that makes sense, or respects its workers, or respects the people that actually pay the bills and buy tickets. Like, sometimes you walk into a Six Flags park and you can tell that they just don't care about the guest experience as much as they should. And that's definitely not the case about Six Flags Fiesta Texas. They definitely care about the guest experience and, how you feel from the moment you enter the park until you leave the park. It's very important to the people that work there. And you can just tell. You can just tell that's how it is.
Yeah, you can even tell from like the ride operators and even like the concession stand workers, like they were just happier to be there, which like I understand it's a job. And of course, that's not exactly where you want to be on maybe like a Friday night, but they made you feel a little bit more welcome than maybe at some other parks. And then from a ride standpoint, for me, this place had some of the best theming I've ever seen at a Six Flags park ever. And then on top of that, like some of the just best theming in general that I've seen at a theme park. It's like, I'm not going to say it's universal levels, but it was really freaking cool. And I think one of my favorites, which Gabe totally knew this was going to be a favorite of mine, was Poltergeist, because it was just freaking cool.
Well, that had been updated.
Yes.
So that theming was updated. They completely redid the inside of the station, repainted the track and everything. That being said, they did one hell of a job re-theming that roller coaster, and it just, from the moment you walk into the queue line to where you're sitting there in the station waiting for the roller coaster to when you're actually on the ride itself is just it's truly an experience. It's not just a, hey, let's get on this roller coaster and go. It's an experience from start to finish. And you can say that about a couple different roller coasters at this park, I think, that are more than just a, hey, jump on a roller coaster and go. It's a full experience.
Yes. And then the other thing that we have to point out about Fiesta Texas and why we're doing this as our Halloween special is I believe it was opening weekend for Fright Fest. And
yes, it was.
So it was. And it was really freaking cool. I've only ever been to one other Fright Fest. And that was the one at Six Flags Great America. And
that was actually my first Fright Fest I've ever visited. I'm not a huge Halloween guy. I do like haunted houses, but I'm not a huge Halloween guy. So Fiesta. Fright Fest was never on my list of things that I needed to do, mostly because at least at Great America, Fright Fest was always packed. It was full of people. Like, you're talking like almost record numbers of people visiting.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was always like, well, I'm going to have to wait in line for roller coasters. I don't want to go to Fright Fest because I didn't really, the Halloween aspect didn't really matter to me. So it was like, why would I go when it's super busy type deal?
Yeah.
So that being said, this was my first ever Fright Fest visit.
So, for anyone out there who's listening and doesn't know what Fright Fest is, obviously with our Halloween special, you could surmise that this is their Halloween event. But basically, what the Six Flags parks do is they pull out a lot of different Halloween decorations. And so they make every section of the park somehow Halloween themed. They put up more decorations. Sometimes the rides themselves will have some kind of changes to them, either in their theming or, and now this isn't every park, but at Six Flags Great America, they would run a couple of their roller coasters backwards, most famously Batman. And then they do have haunted houses that you can go into. And then they also do have scare actors that will have either spots or will roam throughout the park. And a lot of the times they'll also so during the day, you can still bring your kids and stuff. The scare actors usually don't come out until about 6 p.m. And on top of that, they will even have Fiesta Texas. What they did is they turned their water park area into a scare zone where you could walk through if you specifically wanted to be scared by scare actors and didn't want to have to go into a haunted house.
Well, didn't they do an announcement too? Because I remember we got there at 5, and at 5 o'clock, it was not nobody was out yet. None of the scare actors were out yet. So it was, I want to say it was 7 o'clock?
I think so, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because
it was getting dark out.
I was going to say, this is a Friday. So the park was open from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And we were there basically for the whole time. And then I remember at 7 o'clock, they actually played sirens, and then there was an announcement. And then that's when the scare actors actually showed up. But for the first 2 hours, you could easily take, just a younger child through the park if you needed to. And then once you heard those sirens and alarms, if you didn't want your kid there, or if your kid didn't want to be there, then it was all right, time to go type deal.
Yes. So they have what they call family time during the day. And then at night they'll have the adult scary time. I don't know what they actually call it. That's just what I call it. And I do know that I went to Fright Fest quite a few years ago to Six Flags Great America. And they had one haunted house that was also toned down and less scary for kids to go through if they wanted to. So the other thing me and Gabe wanted to mention with Fright Fest was this year, at least, they were requiring even season pass holders to buy additional tickets for the haunted houses. And go ahead.
You never had to do that before, right? See, again, I never went to these events, but that's what I was under the understanding was that if you bought a ticket, you got into all the scare zones, right?
So you got into the scare zones. The problem is this is the first time I've had a season pass. So when I went to Fright Fest, you had to buy a regular ticket, but then you had to buy a haunted house ticket on top of it.
Oh, you still had to buy that?
Yep.
Okay. See, and that's where I got confused because I just thought it was included in your general ticket price for everybody. I didn't realize it was just affected the season pass holders. Again, we're also pretty new at being season pass holders. So
yeah.
That's a thing too. But anyway, the biggest change is that now that even the season pass holder, you have to buy that ticket, that extra haunted house ticket.
So what me and Gabe are trying to get at is that we went on opening weekend on a Friday night. And now I know it's a Friday night, but still, it was not busy at all. We didn't even have to buy a flash pass at all. At all. And there were times when we were practically walking on the Rattler. So
I was going to say, everything was a walk on except for the Rattler at the very end of the night.
Yeah, which that was the very end of the night, so we didn't care.
Yeah. But it was just surprising walking around the park, and again, it was early in the season because it was still September.
Yeah.
Or early in the Fright Fest season, I should say.
Yeah.
And it was a Friday. It wasn't a Saturday, so you didn't get all day at the park. It was just strange for us to walk through a Fright Fest and not see a lot of people. It was very surprising. Now, some of that probably does have to do with the fact that season ticket holders couldn't get that pass into the haunted houses, because I'm sure a lot of season ticket holders are like, what the hell, we already paid for our season pass, why are we having to pay for this as well?
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably be in the same boat too, but we just didn't do the haunted houses when we were there, is what we did.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that that's the route they decided to go, Six Flags, the Six Flags chain as a whole, because you could definitely tell just by attendance wise, there was just not as many people there. Now that could be a combination of things. It could have been the park we were at, the time of the year, blah, 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 blah. But I still felt it was very empty for a Friday night at an amusement park.
Especially with it being Fright Fest, I totally agree with you.
And Fright Fest in Texas is different than Fright Fest in Wisconsin. Like our Fright Fest, it's cold. I get it. Like sometimes it's 40 degrees out, but it was 80 some degrees that day. It's not like the weather was terrible and it was sunny. There was no rain. Like, and then that's what I'm saying. It just felt very, very empty.
Yes.
For the event that we were intending. And I think some of that had to do with the fact that season ticket holders couldn't get that automatic bid into the haunted houses. I think there was some protest there of the season pass holders saying, we already gave you our money. We're not going to do it again. You know?
Yeah.
So but that being said,
yes, I was just about to say, on the flip side of this, Fright Fest is always super fun. And for me specifically, I am a Halloween lover. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I, generally speaking, dress up every single year. So seeing the Halloween decorations are always super cool. The scare actors are always super cool. And they always have different categories. And like they'll have a group of clowns that go around and maybe like some weird demon people. And then so with Fiesta Texas, they have an entire like Dia de los Muertos section. And
that was probably my favorite part, honestly.
Yes, it was very pretty. And that section, because it is the Day of the Dead, it like felt like a little bit more like a celebration instead of trying to scare the crap out of you. I ended up taking pictures of some of the scare actors. It was really cool. The other thing too is, so we'll probably talk about this a little bit later. We went and rode the long flume, and some of the decorations over in like the kiddie area were really freaking cool. They were literally, it's like temporary statues that they must pull out for Fright Fest. I personally thought they were really freaking cool. So
everything in general was really well done. What I appreciated the most was a lot of the lighting effects that they used. Because like typically typically lighting effects you pair with Christmas, like Christmas lights, like and lighting effects and stuff like that. But they use some different stuff that I hadn't really seen before, especially in the Day of the Dead area, that the area we're talking about, where there was like designs and stuff on the pavement with lights. And it just created a really cool ambiance and gave everything a really, like obviously they used a lot of orange and red colors because of that's Halloween colors. And it just gave everything that vibe or feeling of, I don't want to say necessarily creepy, but just it kind of puts you in that mood of like, yeah, this is a Halloween themed event and I actually really like it. Like, that's what I was really impressed by the most was some of the lighting effects and stuff like that they use, even more so than like the decorations that you were talking about.
Yeah. So overall, it was just Fiesta Texas in general is a great park, and we felt like they did a really great job with creating a whole atmosphere with their Fright Fest event. Now, it is a little bit of a shame that we didn't get to check out the haunted houses, so I can't speak to how well they were done. But I've been to the one in Great America, and like the haunted houses were done very, very well. So I would like to assume that Fiesta Texas would be just as good.
From what I could tell from the outside looking in, most people were either extremely frightened or like very happy with their experience exiting the haunted. I guess both of those reactions are good reactions. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, from what I could tell from people leaving the haunted houses, everybody looked like they were very well done, just based off of their reactions of it. Nobody looked disappointed or sad or unhappy.
There wasn't a group of teenagers that walked out and went, well, that was dumb.
Yeah. That being said, there wasn't lines for anything either, so I don't know how many people were actually going through them. But
yeah, that's a thing. But with that, should we maybe get into Fiesta Texas lineup?
Yeah, where would you like to start? Are we going to start with the one that rattles, or are we going to start somewhere else?
Well, so I made up like a quick list on my document, but it's in alphabetical order because that's how RCDB does it. So,
oh, okay.
I figured we could do like a brief rundown and just be like, here's the coaster, here's what it is, and then we could go back and talk about the ones we want.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have Batman the Ride, which is their SNS free spin, which we did not experience at all. Just skip that.
Gabe asked me twice, and I said no both times. He was like, just do it for the credit. And I was like, no.
Then they have Boomerang Coast to Coaster, which is a Vekoma Boomerang. Now, was this the one with the new trains?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I was talking about, we've ridden, 3 versions of this now, 4 versions of this now in this summer. I had to make sure. Yes, so we rode a Boomerang Vekoma, just like their normal Boomerangs with the Cobra Roll and the vertical loop.
Yep.
But this one had the new style trains. So just like the Vekoma SLCs with the new trains, they also have new sit-down trains from Vekoma that eliminate the headbanging and made this probably the best Boomerang we've ridden.
Not probably, but actually is. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
So then they have a coaster called Chupra Cabra, formerly known as Goliath, which is hilarious because they still have the Goliath sign up for it.
They haven't quite rethemed it completely yet.
But that is a B&M Batman clone.
It is a mirrored clone.
Yes, it is a mirrored clone. Then we have Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger, which was the first of the mini B&M dive coasters. So the dive coasters that stand under 200 feet and have the slightly narrower trains. Yep. Then we have the Iron Rattler, which is a RMC conversion. It is the hybrid track or the steel iBox track conversion. However, this is one of the very early conversions. It's the second one they ever did. And the little side note to this roller coaster is it features Gerstlauer trains, not the traditional RMC trains.
Yeah.
Then we have Pandemonium, which is a spinning coaster from Gerstlauer. This is the coaster that I've talked about in the past in other episodes where I literally got to ride it by myself and almost threw up, and I don't throw up, like that's how much I was spinning because they let me ride it by myself. Awesome roller coaster. One of my favorite spinning coasters ever.
Yes.
Honestly. Then we have Poltergeist, which is a premier launch coaster. This is a clone of the Flight of Fear rides minus the mid-course brake run, and then it's all outdoors except for the only part that's actually indoors is the station and the launch track, and then everything else is outside. Then we have the Roadrunner Express, which is an Aero Mine train. However, this is a modern Aero Mine train. Sam, let me ask you quick. Did I oversell this roller coaster in your opinion, or?
Oh no, this thing was freaking amazing. I loved it so much.
And I always tell people this is my favorite mine train. It's probably the best mine train out there, and for a lot of reasons, it's just because it's actually somewhat comfortable. Yeah. It's not rough. Yes. It's also built in 1997, so it's like the newest one.
Yep.
But that being said, that is an Aero Mine train. And then they have Superman Krypton Coaster. That is a B&M floorless from 2000. And it is probably one of the better ones that I've been on. However, when me and Sam rode it, it was not riding how I remember at all. Yeah. It was running slower. It wasn't nearly as intense, and it definitely had a rattle to it. In fact, I think we only rode it once. It was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. Hopefully they can get some refurbishment done on that. It kind of reminds me of Raging Bull before they started refurbishing that, where it just kind of started to get a rattle to it and was just not as comfortable. And then last but not least, we have Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, which is another RMC, but this is an RMC Raptor track. And this is the prototype, the original RMC Raptor. Sam finally got on it. So, and this coaster was running way better than what I remember. So
I honestly was a little bit scared because my first Raptor track was Jersey Devil coaster, and I freaking love that ride. And Gabe had told me about how he was not a fan of this, and so I was a little bit scared. And then we got on it, and we're like, "Oh, they must have done something to it because it's better than what he described." So
Yeah. So which one would you like to talk about first?
Why don't we start with Superman Krypton Coaster?
Superman Krypton Coaster. Okay, so Superman Krypton Coaster, like I said, it was built in 2000. It has a track length of around 4,000 feet, a top height of 168 feet, a top speed of 70 miles per hour, and it features 6 total inversions, including the world's best zero-G roll, in my opinion. That is the one saving grace to this roller coaster.
Yes,
that zero-G roll is so good. I don't know what it is about it, but just chef's kiss. Mwah. What was your opinion on this? And that we'll do that with every coaster. Sam will give you her initial opinion because everything in this lineup she is riding for the first time. And then I will give you what I thought about it in the past, as well as how I felt on the re-ride.
Yeah. So Gabe did hype this coaster up. And like you said, it wasn't running like he thought it did last time. So I will say that. So he hyped it up to me. And so I was really excited for it to be really good. But at the same time, what I had to compare it to, the 2 floorlists that I've been able to ride, is Hydra, which is a floorless, right?
Yeah, so Hydra's a floorless, and the other one that we rode with that was a floorless on the trip would have been Dominator at King's Dominion.
Oh, okay.
That was also floorless.
Is Firebird at America, is that one just a sit down then?
Nope, that was also a floorless, but that used to be a stand-up.
Well, yeah,
yeah, that was also a floorless.
So those were the ones that I had to compare it to, and I wasn't a fan of Hydra, and I wasn't a fan of Firebird, but that's not really like a floorless problem. That's just a Firebird problem.
Yeah.
So like I really wanted it to be good, and Gabe said it was good, and then we wrote it, and like I don't think it was as bad as the other ones, but I also was kind of about it. So, but you're right, the zero-G stole is really, really good. The drop isn't terrible, and it is very picturesque. I will say it looks pretty because it's right up against the quarry wall, and like the other problem I've had with some of the other floors is they've been really rough, and I get a little bit of headbanging because I'm shorter than Gabe, and I didn't have this on this roller coaster. So,
well, the difference is, so like Firebird is a stand-up that was converted to a floorless.
Yep.
Dominator, I believe, is also a stand-up that was converted to a floorless.
Oh,
and what was the third one that we were talking about?
Hydra.
Hydra is an original floorless.
It is an original.
Where this one at Six Flags Fiesta Texas is an original floorless. It's not one that they converted.
Oh.
So that's kind of another way to, kind of differentiate between some of them. Yep. Some of them used to be stand-ups, so they designed the elements a little differently around the stand-up trains. And then when they throw the sit-down trains on, sometimes you lose some of the forces.
Yep.
Where, like, obviously, like Superman Krypton Coaster originally was designed around floorless trains.
Yes. So, well, and the difference between this and Hydra is that Hydra is a lot more like super intense corkscrewy elements. And so it creates the motion that then makes me get the head banging, where this didn't have that much of it. And so that's why I do think I like it better. So, but yeah, I think Gabe hyped it up to me, and then we wrote it, and I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I rode this coaster, now I gotta try and remember what year I rode it in.
Because it's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, 2021?
We're going to have to sit down with our coaster list and start putting years next to them.
I know, for real. I want to say it was 2022.
Okay.
It's either 2022 or 2023, so it would have been 2 or 3 years ago. Is when I got my first rides out, and this thing blew me away. It was almost to the point where when I was talking about like my favorite roller coaster at Fiesta Texas, this was in the running. Like, that's how good it felt. And like the first drop actually had some like butterfly effects to it. Mm-hmm. All the G-forces just felt, really extreme. And the other thing too was coming out of the mid-course, it had so much whip coming out of the mid-course that it actually give you airtime.
Oh,
and so this time when I got out to ride it with Sam, I got off and I looked at her, I said, I'm sorry. Like this is not how it felt when I rode it. I swear, no, like legitimately, it
Guys,
felt like it was running slower. Like,
you have no idea. We literally actually got off it, and he literally actually looked at me and went, "I'm sorry, Sam." Like, he apologized for the coaster.
Yeah, like that. I was very disappointed in my rewrite on this roller coaster, to the point where, like, if I did an actual full ranking on every coaster I rode, it would have dropped, because it didn't. I don't know. See, the other thing is I was like, well, what about the temperature? Did that have something to do with it? And I was like, well, no, because when me and you rode it, it was 90-some degrees, and I rode it in the winter.
Yeah.
Like, when I was down there, I was in Texas. I was there in the winter, like right after New Year's. So it was like January or February when I rode it. And so, like, you can't even say the temperature affected it. It's just, the other thing I noticed, though, is that it had a really nasty rattle. So, and a lot of times when you have a roller coaster with a rattle, that does slow down the pacing, and it actually slows down the speed of the roller coaster. So, that being said, if they were to go through it and probably rebuild, some of these trains and do a refurbishment on the roller coaster, they could probably get it to the point where it was riding.
Yep.
But that's the one caveat I will say. I was riding the roller coaster at the beginning of the season, when they may have already done a rebuild on it, where this was at the very tail end of the season, when the coaster had been cycled 1,000,000 times that year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's I think really what it comes down to. And it's another thing that, we kind of learned that day, is that sometimes, a refurbishment on a coaster matters.
Yes. So. Yes, it does. Very much so. Do we want to talk about Wonder Woman Golden Lasso next?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
This roller coaster opened in 2018. It's one of the newer roller coasters in the park. It has a track length of just under 2,000 feet, a top height of 113 feet, a top speed of 52 miles per hour, 3 total inversions, including one of my favorite inversions, which is the cutback inversion. I really like that on this coaster. But why don't you give your general consistency of the roller coasters?
So, as I explained before, I have ridden Jersey Devil coaster, and I freaking love that roller coaster. And so, with Gabe's opinion of this, like I said, I was kind of iffy.
It's ironic that these two coasters sit right next to each other in the park. It really is. Superman Krypton coaster is right next to Wonder Woman, and it's just hilarious how both these coasters turned out.
Yes. So when we got off of it, it was like, oh, we could definitely tell the difference. And they must have, because didn't you say it had like some kind of rattle to it, or felt kind of... Go ahead.
So the rattle that we experienced on Superman Krypton coaster, take that and times it like by 4.
Oh, jeez.
And that was the ride. This roller coaster literally felt like it was running on square wheels when I rode it. Like, that's the experience I got.
Yeah, so it was very much way better. The other thing with the Raptor tracks in general is because of the moving station, to me, it feels like the line moves really fast, but I think that's just because it's practically always constantly moving. And they were also doing a really good job of like feeding in, like they have like dots set up for like the next train or whatever. So they were doing a pretty good job about getting the lines all filled up so the next train was ready to go immediately. And then it was like, it had good airtime. It had good, G moments, intense moments. The inversions are decent. The drop felt really good. And the other thing is we do talk about the restraints on these Raptor tracks. RMC really needs to go in and redesign them. But the other thing is if you know about that beforehand, you can counteract it by holding on. So it didn't bother me. Like, I remember riding Jersey Devil coaster for the first time, and Gabe warned me, but I still didn't know. So when I rode it, I couldn't even concentrate on the coaster the first time I rode it because it was so bad. But this one, no issues with that. I was able to kind of brace myself. And so it was a fun coaster. It was a lot of fun, I personally think.
Well, how do you compare it to Jersey Devil? Do you still like Jersey Devil over this? Or do you think this is... So, yeah, okay. That's the other thing. You're probably in the minority on that then. Because most people do prefer the prototype models because they're more compact and they feel more intense.
Yeah.
That being said...
I like the airtime on Jersey Devil coaster, so go ahead.
Yeah. That being said, this was the wow factor. This was the surprise. When I got in line for this roller coaster with Sam, I was like... I was already regretting my decision. I was like, I really don't want to ride this again. Like, it was terrible the last time I was on it. I feel like my teeth probably have a chipped tooth from it. Like, it was just like the last time I got off of it, it was like, I don't need to ride that again. And then I'm sitting in line for it. Like, why am I in line for this thing again? And then when I got off of it, it was like, whoa. So if that's what this coaster felt like when it opened, I get the hype. I really do. Because that was the other thing. I got off the coaster last time and I'm like, where does this hype for this roller coaster come from? Because I just don't see it. I don't feel it. I just was very disappointed when I got off of it last time. And I even told Sam this. I was like, yeah, this probably isn't the best coaster. I even said it's like one of the worst coasters at Fiesta Texas. That's just not true anymore.
No, it is not.
Now that I got into ride experience on it with, a more enjoyable, smoother experience, you can actually enjoy the layout. I actually prefer this over Jersey Devil Coaster. I really do. It is more intense. It is more whippy, and the pacing is just. There is not another coaster on the planet that is paced the same way this one is. It is just. It's crazy.
Give it that.
It is crazy how fast you rip through this layout. Granted, it is only 1,800 feet of track, but it feels like it's only 10 feet of track. Like, that's just the ride experience you get on this thing. And just the whippiness and the transitions, like every single piece of track does something. Does some sort of, even the straight brake run, you're slamming into the brake run. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate about this coaster. Is there's not a single foot of wasted track on this thing, other than maybe the lift hill, but you still have to have that. So
right, that's just building your anticipation. So there you go. So
if Superman the Krypton coaster fell in my rankings, Wonder Woman definitely shot up in my rankings. In fact, it is probably competing for a top spot in this park now, where if you asked me that same question the last time I rode it, I would have said, no, it's one of the worst rides in the park.
Oh yeah, it was really kind of funny watching Gabe go through this park, because this is my first time here. But Gabe was just like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. And then we got off it. He literally apologized to me. And then he was over here dreading this coaster. Yeah. And then he got off it. He went, what the freaking hell?
Honestly, the only coaster that really did not change at all was Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, that was the only one where I got off it, was like, yeah, that's pretty much what it was when I rode it last time.
Speaking of that, why don't we dive into that roller coaster?
Okay, so
pun 110%.
Hey! We're not a pun podcast here. Okay, knock that off. We're not doing that.
To be fair, I didn't realize I'd made it until after I'd said it. So.
Okay, so Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger is a B&M mini dive coaster. It is the first version of the mini dive, or what they call the narrow model. I don't like that.
No, they're mini dives.
They're mini dives, okay. So this coaster features a track length of around 2,500 feet, a top height of 150 feet, a top speed of 60 miles per hour, 2 inversions, and a beyond vertical first drop.
Oh, yes. Okay,
this is another coaster with a 0G roll that's really good.
Yes,
There's a lot of 0G rolls in this park. I feel like they're a little excessive with the 0G rolls.
But they're all good.
That is true. That is very true.
So before we get into the actual contents of this coaster, I want to talk about the theming on this ride. Because Gabe knew I was going to love this coaster just because of the theming, and I hate that I have to agree with him on this, but it was it was so fun. And I could see how it would start making the line long if it had long lines, but we didn't have long lines. So it was just kind of nice to sit there and enjoy it. But instead of a traditional queue line, they funnel you into this room, and then they get to play a little show, and you get to look at all the decorations, and there's a whole little TV screens that have Dr. Diabolical on it. And then you go into a second room and you find out that she tricked you, and there's this whole little story. And then you find out you have to go on the scream machine, and it's just fun. Okay, it's just fun. I know it's cheesy, but I don't care. And the decorations are so fun, and I'm a steampunk lover, so of course the whole thing is steampunk themed, which just made me love it even more. And I'll never forget this too. When we were walking up, the supports have rust and blood painted on them, and I was like, Gabe, is that blood on the supports? And he's like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, ah. So I had fun the instant I got in line for this ride. And then you get to the ride, and the ride itself is awesome. I really love this mini dive coaster. The drop is amazing. It's got intense moments, it's got airtime. And we were talking about is it a problem with the mini dives, Gabe? How they have like a shake to them? This one had a little.
It's just newer B&Ms in general. Like from 2015 to present, they just seem to have a roughness to them.
Yeah.
Like even the new one at Six Flags Great America, which I know you haven't had the privilege to ride yet. I have. It just has. It's just not. Like when you get out of B&M, you expect a glass smooth experience with zero bumps, zero rattles, zero transition moments that are just uncomfortable. And there seems to be more and more of that with a lot of these newer B&Ms. The one that always comes to mind is Iron Menace. That was terrible. That had speed bumps in the layout, and that's just not what you expect from B&M.
Yep.
So and this coaster doesn't seem to be affected by it as much. There is the one moment coming out of the zero G roll where that does feel like a speed bump. But really, other than that moment, that's as much as I can remember. Oh, the airtime hill had a little bit of a, but like that one's almost in a good way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in Airtime Hill, there's not too many intense forces going on. So even if there is a little bit of a shake or a rattle to it, or even a speed bump, you don't feel it as intensely as you might in another part of the roller coaster. So yeah, this was a fun coaster. We rode it so many times too with the short lines. Like,
oh yeah,
there were points where we were just sitting on the train and we're like, we're gonna go again. So.
One time I think we laughed at like 3 times before they finally kicked us off of it.
Literally. And when we say kicked us off, I think it was just because there were people in line. So
yeah, literally.
It was a really fun ride. I really liked this, and it reminded me of Griffin at Busch Gardens, and I really liked both of these coasters. The drop is ridiculous, and then like the second quote unquote drop is like, so of course you really kind of almost get ejector on both of them because it's beyond vertical. So you get like lifted into your restraints on the beyond vertical. And then the other one is definitely like you drop down so freaking fast that it's not floater anymore. It's ejector at that point.
Oh, absolutely.
So this thing was awesome. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, so this one, like I said, for me, was the one coaster that really didn't move the needle at all. It wasn't any more disappointing than the last time I rode on it, and it wasn't any more impressive than the last time I rode it. However, I still agree with the fact that this is probably the second best roller coaster in the park. Mm-hmm. Just the difference between the number 1 and the number 2 were a lot closer the last time I was at this amusement park, but that has to more do with the number 1 coaster, not the number 2. That being said, I always really appreciated the theming. It's just one of those things, though, where after the 4th time or 5th time or 6th time walking through the queue, it gets a little old, and that's kind of where I was at with it, just because I've already experienced it. But the first time I was at this park, it was the same. I had the same reaction. I was very impressed. Very well done. It's one of those things where you don't see at Six Flags parks a lot, like a full pre-show before you get into the roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the biggest thing that really impressed me, was that they actually invested some time and energy into that pre-show. And it's not just like sometimes those pre-shows are really like just like, okay, shut up. Like we don't care. Yep. But this one actually kind of gave it the roller coaster, a lot of background and a lot of emotion and a lot of like I didn't want to tell the actor in the pre-show, shut the fuck up. Like that's not that didn't come out of my mouth. It was like actually interesting to me. Yes. I don't know. And sometimes like the creepy cat, I don't know, the creepy cat at Lagoon, the stupid cat that like stares at you is like I completely unnecessary. Where this one actually was one of the more well done pre-shows that I actually appreciated, versus instead of like being miserable in it. So
yes. With that, do we want to get into number 1?
I think we have no choice. Can't talk about all these roller coasters and then not talk about the other one.
Exactly. So I will do the brief rundown on this so that Gabe can kind of just go off and talk about it because I know that he wants to. This is the this is the Iron Rattler, which is an RMC Iron Horse conversion. It used to be known as the Rattler. And again, if you want more information on the Rattler, go back and listen to our Son of Beast Part 1 episode.
You know, you could just listen to that whole thing because it's a very good. It's probably like our 2 best episodes. Honestly.
Exactly. So there you go. Any new listeners, go back and listen to those.
If you are a new listener to our podcast, the one new listener we'll gain in this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe two. Maybe this year we'll get 2.
Maybe we'll get 2, yeah.
Go listen to our Son of Beast special. It's a 2-part special where we talk about the Son of Beast and everything that led up to it. This is the true crime podcast episode of Roller Coasters. So if you're super into true crime, we did our best. Don't hate on us too much. Obviously, we're not true crime experts here. Yeah. Well, one of us is.
Yes. So
that being said, that is the episode to listen to of season 2.
Yes. So back to the Iron Rattler. This, like I said, is an RMC Iron Horse conversion. It stands at 179 feet. That drop is 171 feet. Top speed of 70 miles per hour. That drop is 81 degrees. And this thing was everything I hoped it would be, Gabe.
Just a little side note. If you are new to our podcast, just skip season 1. Just skip the whole thing. Don't. It's terrible. It's terrible. Don't
do it. Don't put yourself through that torture.
I can't even like re-listen to it as the person who made it. Like that's how bad it is.
It's so bad.
Just skip that.
Don't.
That's the other thing. Hopefully this season I can upgrade my recording equipment. Obviously, I'm still using my own stuff, but that is a goal for this season to upgrade my recording equipment because I'm the one that is lacking in that department.
It's all right. We're getting there. We're not exactly paying the bills with this, so it comes as it comes.
Yeah. Well, share this podcast with your friends.
Exactly.
Have them nerd out a little bit talk about our roller coasters. Maybe I can afford some new recording equipment.
Exactly. That would be nice.
Yes. Or if somebody wants to donate it.
Goodness gracious.
That either.
Exactly. DM us on TikTok and we'll get you the info.
Yeah. That being said, this roller coaster, what the hell? I don't know. I'm still a little bit discombobulated from it. This is a roller coaster that you could ride 5 times and then you really don't have to ride another one for the rest of the year. Like I felt satisfied. Like we got off of it. I was like, "Do you want to go ride Dr. Biological's Cliffhanger again?" And you were just like, "No, I'm good. I'm happy with this being the end of it." Like,
yep. Oh yeah.
Iron Rattler was running way better than my initial ride experience on this, and I think the biggest difference is the fact that I just got to ride it more. So when I was at the park the last time, 2 or 3 years ago, whatever year it was significantly busier, but the other issue they had is because of the time of the year I was there, a lot of the stuff was on one train ops, including the Iron Rattler. So in order for me to be able to ride every roller coaster at the park, I kind of had to basically ride everything once and then make another loop around to get on this to re-ride the stuff I wanted to re-ride. Mm-hmm. We're like this time we were able to actually lap it a few times. I think there's 1 or 2 times where we didn't have to get off of it.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So we actually got quite a few rides on it, but this thing was hauling. I mean, just absolutely tearing through this layout, more so than from what I remember the last time. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was talking about with Dr. Dialog's Cliffhanger, is that when I first went to the park, everything, like the top 3 felt very close together between the Iron Rattler. At the time, it was the Iron Rattler, the Cliffhanger ride, and Superman. Mm-hmm. Those 3 coasters felt very close. It was like, I still felt the Rattler was the better of the 3, but I felt like the distance between 1 and 3 was very small. Like you could go to that park at any time and pick either of those 3 coasters as your favorite, and you'd probably be right. Where this time around going to the park, Iron Rattler is the best coaster there, and it's not even close. Like it's not even a competition anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's how good it was running. The 0G roll, the dive off the cliff. Oh my God. I see. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where my other appreciation for this roller coaster comes from is I've been on 100 more roller coasters now.
Yeah.
Like before it was like, well, this really isn't a Goliath. You know, it's not really like a Raging Bull. It's not, I didn't have a lot to compare it to, but now I got to get off El Toro and experience the ejector airtime on the Rolling Thunder Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back and I ride this and I go, that drop off the quarry wall is right up there. Like it is that good. It is that good of a roller coaster element that it is almost as good as the El Toro Rolling Thunder Hill. Mm-hmm. Like, and the first drop, there is not another first drop on the planet like this one. Like just the jankiness to it. Like that's the only word. I think that's the thing that makes this so good for an RMC is it has a little bit of jankiness and a little bit of terrible profiling.
Like, I think the fact that the Rattler was built so terribly.
Wow, that's part of it too.
Kind of gave this RMC specifically a character all its own.
Yes.
Because a lot of other Iron Horse conversions are like these staggering, amazing, when they were built, huge wooden roller coasters that had great names and then just were aging out, were basically as wooden roller coasters. They were too rough and people didn't like them anymore, where this thing was just kind of bad from day one. So RMC just had kind of a wonky coaster to begin with to kind of just do what they could with, and man, did they make the most of it.
Yeah, honestly, I think my biggest complaint about modern RMCs is they start to feel the same. Like I don't want to say that's a bad thing or anything like that, because obviously the RMC blueprint is really, really good.
Yes.
But like Air Force One, Wildcat's Revenge, even Iron Gwazi to an extent, you can just like you feel the RMC soul in them, and like I said, it's not a bad thing or anything. I'm not complaining about it, but you feel that in all three. Yeah. Iron Rattler has its own separate soul. It does not have an RMC soul. It doesn't have a wooden roller coaster soul. It has an Iron Rattler soul to it. This is a coaster where when we talk about coasters with a soul, this would be on that list, because it just has such a unique ride experience. And it's another one of those coasters where, okay, on the RMC list, it's probably one of the worst RMCs out there. It really honestly probably is.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even want to put this on the RMC list. Like, it doesn't deserve to be there. It should be all on its own in another whole realm.
Yeah.
Just because of its unique, janky, you're not so... And I think that's really what it comes down to. RMC is perfection. Like, Iron Gwazi, you get off of that, that is a perfect roller coaster in every way, shape, and form. The Iron Rattler's not, like at all. It's not anywhere close to being a perfect roller coaster. But that's what I love about it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what makes it stick out to me.
Yes. What I really want to call attention to with you getting a re-ride and me getting my first ride on it is the back section on top of the quarry. I don't remember, I'd have to look back and see what episode it is that we talked about the Iron Rattler originally, but
it used to be in my top 15, so I think it's in the very first couple episodes that we talked about it.
Okay, note to self, don't go listen to that episode. Basically, there is the initial drop off the quarry wall, which is also your initial drop, and it's slightly curved, so instead of getting like beautiful floater, you get like absolutely insane injector, and then you go up, and then do you go straight up and over the quarry wall again?
Basically you pull up to basically come up even with the level of the quarry wall, and then you go into that wave turn element.
Yes.
So it's like a bounce up to a flat and then another airtime moment. So there's the jump up to get on top of the quarry wall is like an ejector airtime moment, because that's not the tallest point in that sequence. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of like, it's almost like a double up is really what it is, but the second part of it is the wave turn.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is you have like basically what we call the front section, and then we have what I'm calling the back section or the quarry wall. And when Gabe initially rode this roller coaster, and when I watched it in POVs and the way he explained it to me, it was a less intense maybe kind of quote unquote slower section of the ride. There were a couple airtime hills, and then you go into the drop back off to the quarry, and that was like when it ramped back up again. Well, it was so freaking hot out, and this coaster was running so good. Every single time we went through that quote unquote back section, it somehow got more intense every single time. And I remember specifically like the two airtime hills that just gave you stupid amounts, okay? Stupid amounts of ejector time. And then the final element is you dropping back down into what Gabe was saying is like on par with the Rolling Thunder Hill of El Toro. And so it just this whole ride is just stupid. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that. That back section was a lot better this time.
So that back section, the last time I rode it, was basically, I think that's where the biggest difference could be felt. Is basically you popped into that zero-G roll, and the zero-G roll is a wow moment, right?
Yeah.
And then dropping off the quarry wall on the other side was a wow moment. But everything on top of the quarry wall felt very much to be filler. Like, you could tell they had, like, obviously they had track to work with yet, but it felt like they were just basically throwing whatever in there just to make it back around to the second wow moment. Basically, They were trying to connect two wow moments together, and they didn't really know what to do. Is kind of how it felt the initial time I rode it. Where this time around, going through that section, the coaster was running way faster. And it, instead of being a wow moment followed by a bunch of into another wow moment, it was more like wow moment. And then if you take that whole section, that was another wow moment into another wow moment. If that makes sense. I just said wow like 8 times, but that's okay.
It was like amazing, well done, beautiful moment, amazing, well done, beautiful moment, and then a bunch of track in the middle that you're like, okay, they kind of felt like they had to just try and connect these 2 points. And this time it felt more like amazing, well done moment, amazing, well done moment, amazing, well done moment to culminate and just an amazing roller coaster experience in general.
Yes, absolutely. That being said, obviously those still are not the best elements on the roller coaster just because of the smaller size. But it didn't feel like it was unnecessary, if that makes sense. And that's kind of where it was last time. This was like, why didn't they just put a bank turret in here or something and just go back off the quarry wall? That being said, overall, the entire coaster just felt better.
Yeah.
From the first drop to the final breaks, it just was absolutely hauling. And I said that like several times after getting off the thing.
Well, and even when it started getting dark out, you always worry because the temperature starts dropping.
Yes.
But I mean, it was September in frickin' Texas. It didn't start cooling down until like, it didn't cool down is what I'm trying to say.
No,
so
it did
even
not.
when it got dark, and then we made this our last ride of the night. So we got a night ride in the dark on this thing. And like,
that was insane. That was the other part too, is I didn't get night rides on anything. You didn't get a night ride on the Iron Rattler? Awesome.
Ooh, chef's kiss. So I do want to pause for a second here, Gabe. How long do you want to make this episode? Because I think we're kind
of, as I say, I think we're kind of reaching the end to the point where people are going to be annoyed by listening to us. So
we could talk about SeaWorld some other time.
Maybe we'll have to do another special episode or something.
Exactly. So
amusement parks with ocean themes. I think that's the only one, honestly.
Besides, I think you're pretty much right. So, yeah, we'll have to talk about SeaWorld some other time. We're kind of getting to the end of our episode. We're almost coming up on an hour. It is shortened a little bit with my editing, but really, honestly, not that much. I just mostly edit out weird pauses and that stuff. So, I mean, I guess that's the gist of Fiesta Texas.
Yeah,
it was
that is really. There's some other really cool coasters there, but we just don't need to talk about them. Honestly, the only other one would be Poltergeist, and that's just because of the theming.
Yeah, well, Poltergeist because of the theming. That. Exactly. And then on top of that, I do think with a re-ride on the original Flight of Fear, we talked about how rough it was, and this didn't have that problem.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so the only other thing that I want to do an honorable mention for is the Bugs Whitewater Rapids, which is their log flume.
I'm still upset about that, by the way.
So first of all, it had awesome theming. This was so much fun to walk through because it was like a realistic medieval castle, but then you'd have random Bugs Bunny scenes throughout the entire castle. It was very hilarious.
Yes.
And then, yes, it was actually a decent log flume. We actually got wet on it. And then the other thing was there was a dragon, and Gabe was like, "Oh, it's a cool dragon." And then it turned around and spit water directly in his face.
Yeah, that was not a moment I was expecting to happen. I was to be honest with you.
So funny for me, because I didn't get wet at all. So
what? You didn't get squirted by it? I didn't know that.
You blocked all of it.
It sprayed me in my face and everything. I was not happy.
And then there was like another statue of it when we got into the station. Yeah. And Gabe looked at the operator and went, "I have beef with that dragon."
Yeah, I do have beef with that dragon. He sprayed me, and only me, apparently. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he only got you. That's why it was so funny to me. So I wanted to
never riding a log flume again. Never.
I'm making you ride them. You have to.
No, that was not fun.
It was hilarious. So I wanted to mention that before we come to the end of the episode here, guys. So as long as we are somewhat consistent, our schedule for the next couple weeks at least is this episode's gonna obviously release on Halloween. It's our Halloween special, but then our next episode is going to be our episode 0, and as Gabe was explaining at the beginning of our episode, we're going to do general housekeeping, talk about our schedule, a 2025 trips recap, hoping to be more consistent, kind of apologize for our abrupt end last season, and then go into general roller coaster news. And so you'll get some roller coaster news, what's coming in 2026, and then some discussion on what is a giga?
Yeah, hot topic for this fall. What is a giga coaster?
But then looking a little bit further out into our regular podcast, we're going to start off with the season with 3 battles episodes. And if you listen to episode 0, we'll give you some more details on what they are going to be about. But the kind of general overall theme for these 3 episodes is going to be roller coasters from our trip, our big 2025 roller coaster extravaganza. So please tune in and listen to those.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to maybe throw another special episode in. I don't know. Our schedule's going to change. I can tell you that already. But because I was just thinking just to cover that trip in general, because obviously if you follow our TikTok, you understand all the parks that we visited, blah, 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 blah. But we didn't talk about any of those roller coasters. There's over 100 roller coasters that we have to talk about now. Yeah. So like maybe you'll probably just be seeing, probably what we'll just end up doing is a bunch of battle episodes from that trip. Like it'll be, favorite coaster, blah, 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 of 2025 or something like that. Yes. We'll have to throw some more of those episodes in there. Or you'll just hear us making up random categories just to shoehorn in a roller coaster from that trip.
Pretty much.
So.
Yep.
I have a talent for that, so.
So do I. We both do.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. With that, everyone, please remember to follow us on the socials. We have Facebook, we have X, and we have TikTok now, and we also have Instagram. But thank you so much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
And we are very, very happy to be back.